What I've got for you today is supposed to be an amazing game of professional StarCraft 2. It's time for a Terran versus Zerg, where we find ourselves on Hardwire. And in the top right-hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Terran SCVs from France, we have Clem. His opponent in the opposite corner with the red Zerg drones from Canada, we are looking at Scarlett's main hatchery. Now, from what I've heard, this TVZ is excellent. Apparently, it's one of the very best Terran vs. Zergs that has been played so far this year, and I've seen some really good ones already, so I'm excited to find out exactly what ended up going down between these two channel favorites. I know that many of you are huge fans of both of these, so we'll find out together. Now, interestingly enough, Scarlett has historically played a lot in the Korean region in StarCraft 2. She's lived a lot of time over there, and then, of course, also in the North American region, whereas Clem primarily competes over in Europe. So I just looked it up. These two, despite the fact that they have both played in a lot of tournaments, have only played against each other a couple of times. So they played once in 2018, once in 2019, once in 2020, and then once in 2021 as well. And I guess, well, this would be their one time playing in 2022. Anyways, historically, they've only really played a handful of games against each other. So for those of you curious, in 2018, Scarlett won. And in all the other years, it seems to be a Clem victory. I'm trying really hard not to spoil myself for this particular one. I don't know who ends up winning it, so we'll find out together. Now, while I was setting up for this cast, while I was setting up my recording software and all that, I realized that it's a long game on Hardwire, right? Now, historically, Clem has always been a bio-Terran player, so who, you know, likes to go for, like, Marine Marauder Medevac into, like, Siege Tank, Widowmine, and then maybe eventually Ghosts and Liberators and all that. However, recently, especially, well, on Hardwire LE, Maru, for example, has been popularizing Terran Mech. And while I haven't seen Clem play a whole lot of Mech, if he's gonna pull it out, I feel like this would be the map to do so. And since it is a longer game, we may very well watch the Frenchman play a little bit of Terran Mech instead. So an army that's based around Siege Tanks, Thors, Liberators, Cyclones, Hellbats, Hellions, that sort of thing. We'll find out over the course of the next couple of minutes when he decides to add on additional production structures. Either way, for now, everything is normal. Scarlett has decided to pull 2 drones out of gas at 60. This allows you to take the third hatchery before the Reaper arrives, which is a, well, massive advantage. The only downside is that if, say, for example, the scouting SCV sticks around for a little while longer, and they block the third base from going up, you then, you know, have to effectively send another drone down towards the other third base option. Sometimes then the Reaper arrives and it can be a disaster because you skip an Overlord and all that, so you can't actually make additional queens, and then you're stuck on 2 bases without link speed and all the rest of it. Anyways, it worked out just fine right here for Scarlett, but definitely a small risk to take. Now, with the timing right here on link speed, she is still going to be able to finish this up by the time that 4 Hellions are out on the map on her side, which is huge, but it does delay Zergling speed a little bit. So basically what you do is you go hatch into a gas geyser, into a spawning pool, then you rally 3 drones from the larva straight into the extractor. Then you pull 2 drones off of gas at 60. 1 goes to the natural, 1 goes to the third base to build the third base, and then, well, you just let the 1 worker that's still remaining in the gas geyser finish up 100, and then eventually you can start up metabolic boost as well. A technical explanation, I suppose. But that is what Scarlett is going for here for now. So what do we have, actually? Okay, Clem has not gone for the standard 1-1-1. This is a very quick third command center, but then also with a second barracks, and now he's gonna start up the Stimpack research. So yeah, this is definitely not gonna be a mech Terran player whatsoever, no. I mean, eventually it might transition towards mech, that's what we see every once in a while, but generally speaking, it seems that the longer games on Hardwire right now do involve Terran mech. Okay, Clem apparently spotted an opportunity, decides to drive by into the natural expansion of the Zerg. A couple of links have already gone down. I never really liked this all too much, though. Yeah. So, like, that looked like a juicy opportunity, right? When the queen got grenaded backwards and all that. But in the end, that really wasn't very effective at all. I'm pretty sure Clem is only going to make a couple of Zerglings, or sorry, a couple of Hellions this game as well, so that's probably the last of them for now. Yeah, have they been particularly effective? Not really. The problem is, of course, if Clem decided to wait until the third and the fourth Hellion joined up with that Reaper and the first 2, then link speed would have been done. So I guess he decided to take an opportunity and take a chance. Did he capture it, or did he let it slip? Yeah. A little bit of both. At this point, Scarlett doesn't know what she's going up against. She's gone for a lair. She's building some blind spore crawlers. So generally speaking, if it would be a Banshee opener or, for example, a Liberator start here for Clem, the unit should show itself by about the 5-minute mark. So that's exactly why she has timed these Spore Crawlers this way. At this point, she hasn't seen a starport unit yet. Well, we know because of the fact that there wasn't a starport out early that, well, there's not going to be one until a little while later. But at this point, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Scarlett is putting the opponent on maybe like a battlecruiser opener or something along those lines. 4th hatchery already coming up. The creep is continuously pushed forward. Wouldn't be surprised if she decides to go into a Spire here as well. Prioritizing the Baneling speed for the time being. Fair enough. Additional gases are coming up too. The thing is, there's no evolution chambers yet. And then, okay, she starts one off right now. Are we not going to go for 2? Alright, we are. I never really liked this all too much, right? So already she's sitting at like, well, nearly 300 gas. There's going to be like 350 gas in the bank by the time that these evos finish up. That could have started up quite a bit sooner, so I guess the main reason right here to go towards a lair is just the Centrifugal Hooks upgrade that allows the Banelings to roll around the map. Makes especially defending against those marine-based pushes much easier. But I think I like the build order here from Clem a little bit better. Playing something a bit out of the ordinary, but still very efficient. +1/+1 has already started up. And considering that this was a very quick 3rd command center, while then also simultaneously going for, you know, pretty quick upgrades here, it seems like the risk has paid off here, because there is now a nice timing advantage right here on those upgrades for the Terran. Apparently this is just the creep cleaning crew right over here. The CCC, the creep cleaning crew. It's a lot of dead creep tubers. Yeah, keep scanning, dude. Get another one. Look, there's one over there. Can we get that one too? Come on. All right, there we go. "17 creep tumors have gone down by the 7-minute mark." That is a lot. That's a lot. Obviously, those scans are not free. Every single time you see a Terran player scan, it could have been a mule. And mules mine a good amount of money. I think there's some Banelings setting themselves up for a potential roll-by. Bane speed at this point is done. She's actually gone into a Hydralisk den here. Yeah, I don't think that this is a particularly effective and efficient build that Scarlett is playing. It's relatively late upgrades, relatively late tech as well. She shouldn't go down to anything here anytime soon. It's not like she's gonna lose here to like a big timing attack, because the creep threat is excellent and there's a lot of Creans to, yeah, constantly replace those tumors as well. And bait speed and the upgrades are definitely not like a bad timing necessarily, but it feels to me that there could have been a little bit more efficiency here. Anyways, in the end, once all the upgrades are done, it doesn't even matter. Hydralisk den, though, straight up, without a lurker den, and without an evolution... Okay, or what is it called? Infestation pit, rather. That one is coming up right now. Concussive shells being researched here for Clem. Clem actually forgetting the +2 armor upgrade. He's got the money for it, just hasn't started it up yet. Is prioritizing some mech upgrades as well in the armory, which is quite interesting. So that's not the attack upgrades. Are we gonna just transition slowly towards mech? Is that what we're doing? I mean, not anytime soon, but maybe later on into the game. There's a lot of Terran players out there that think playing Terran mech straight up is not a good idea until you get like 5 command centers up and running. So maybe Clem is gonna be in that category. I like this push though. This like right lane on the map is pretty easy to attack through. Now Clem does have some very far forward... This should never work. Come on! Okay, I thought for a second the SCVs weren't gonna be pulled. Yeah. There's very far forward supply depots here. Anyways, the right side lane is gonna be extremely difficult to attack into. Is Scarlett gonna try? Okay, she is gonna try and collapse on top of the Terran bio army. Siege tanks are on creep, so the Zerglings are gonna have an easy time closing that distance. Alright, that fight actually went a little bit better there for Zerg than I thought. If we can kill the Medivacs here, I think targeting the Medivacs is the way to go. Yeah. Get him. Alright. So in the end, that actually worked out quite well for the Zerg player, especially considering that the 4th command center is not landed yet. So Scarlett is already finished up to her 5th base. She's gonna go into a hive as well as a lurker den here. So eventually, even though I don't necessarily like the route that she took here, eventually she is gonna arrive at that Hydra Lurker, Ling Bane, Viper unit composition that is extremely popular right now. The way that Clem plays, especially with these bio-based armies, it's very tempo-oriented, right? Meaning that he's trying to basically create little advantages by pushing back that creep spread and then hitting the opponent in the face with a follow-up army, and a follow-up army, and a follow-up army. Basically trying to get that lead by continuously pushing. Now, that works really well up to this point in the game, but as soon as lurkers are out, and we already have a lurker upgrade researching, a lot of that tempo lead gets shut down, because Terran bio units really cannot push into lurkers whatsoever until, I guess you get Ghost out, right? Those are, technically speaking, bio units, but for all intents and purposes, they're in their completely separate category. 40 more links coming up. 99 drones, by the way, for Scarlett. So I guess her goal was to play Hydra Lurker Viper eventually, and to just not die in the process while getting like half of her total supply in drones. Her income is going to be through the roof. Also, of course, means that she's going to be mining out those mineral fields a little bit quicker. Ooh, a Nidus network. Fair enough. 4th Command Center finally up and running. 5th CC about halfway done. You let go, though, of the control on the minimap for a little while, and immediately that creep spread is put down once again. Alright, nice hatchery snipe, actually. Oh, what? A little bit of fat fingering right here on the hotkeys, I think. A couple of siege tanks on the back of this. Alright, yeah, that works. Anyways, Nidus network at this point is done. I don't know where she plans on tunneling, but usually the main base is a good option, right? Getting lurkers right over here would be pretty sweet. There's some locations around the main base that can definitely be Nidused. Scarlett has started taking the bases right here on the right side of the map as well. All right. Now here's that big transition, right? That everyone is a big fan of. Terran players at the very least. It's gonna be the ghosts. Ghosts are amazing because they counter pretty much all the late game Zerg units. Actually, they counter all of the late game Zerg units. So they have an ability called Steady Targeting that's really good against lurkers, but then also against Brute Lords as well as Ultralisks. But they also have another skill called EMP that allows them to remove energy out of spellcasters. And as you may imagine, that's really good against Infestors, but also Vipers as well as Queens. So pretty much all the late game Zerg units are, yeah, quite susceptible to the Ghost. Scarlett, though, decides to get a little bit aggressive. Okay, Blinding Clouds do go down on the siege tanks right there in the back. I don't think there's enough, though, for the Zerg to push through this. She's got so much supply caught up in drones that there's really not that large of an army here available. I guess this was mostly just a squad, though, to create a little bit of a distraction and to hopefully blow up a mineral line on the right side of the map. But Clem a little bit too good for that. Manages to defend in 2 locations at the same time. Alright. I guess technically even 3 locations, right? Because I think the Nidus Worm was in the main base right around the same time. That's pretty sweet. So where do you go from here, right? As the Zerg unit composition goes, like what do you do from here? Generally speaking, this is it. Like this is what you build up to for about 10 minutes or so. You go Hydra Lurker Viper with Ling Bane support. There's not really a lot you can transition into. Sometimes you can catch your opponent off guard by doing like a mass transition towards Ultras or getting a bunch of Brute Lords out, but it isn't easily done. So yeah, now the Ghosts are out. They're gonna start pushing forward here, already getting some very good snipes down. Clem on the other end, this isn't even his final form, okay? Generally, once we get to a healthy ghost number, so already 11 of them are out, I think that's pretty good. He's got the Iron Bank building right now with 4 additional command centers. I think pretty much all of these will be morphed into orbital commands as well, so at that point what Terran can do is start getting rid of SCVs and replace any lost Marines and Marauders with like heavy hitters instead. So you get to like that mech army in a completely different way, by getting like a huge eco first as well as a ghost army, and then eventually you go into like Thors, siege tanks, liberators, Vikings, the whole shebang. I'm a big fan of this playstyle here from Terran. It's extremely hard to play. Super easy to accidentally die while you've just spent like 3,000 resources on a bunch of command centers. It's gonna take a while before that will all be very effective. And once again, Scarlett is trying to punish this right here, right now. She's moving forward. Snipes already, though, landing on at least some of those ghosts. Although, a few of the ghosts do have to pay for this with their lives. Siege tank set up over here, too. Ooh, it's gonna be a planetary in this wall-off. I really like this. Tactical planetary fortresses. A relatively recent development in this matchup, but I like it. So what you do is you force the Zerg player to commit a larger army on one side of the map. I mean, technically speaking, Lurkers should be able to kill this planetary relatively easily, but it's gonna buy Clem time, right? And that's really all he needs. So even though his +3 was a little bit later than it probably should have been, the +3 armor that is, it is gonna finish up eventually. We already have some good mech upgrades too. +2, +1 is done. Yeah, it's not bad. Alright. Isn't it interesting how, like, the meta has changed? Even though there hasn't been any patches for StarCraft 2, we haven't seen any significant overhauls to the game in quite some time, but the game is still developing. This is something that wasn't considered possible, not even really that long ago. Like a half year ago, this would have been unheard of. Even though there hasn't really been any changes in the meta, or, sorry, in the balance of the game, we did get new maps, right? So Hardwire, obviously, is a map that enables this playstyle a little bit better, but I like it a lot. Alright, here we go. Scarlett, once again, ready to swarm over the opponent. She only needs one good fight to continuously, yeah, be able to reinforce this. Clem right now, though, backing off to the safety of planetary fortresses. There's another one right here on the left side. Will this planetary fall right here in the center? I think there is going to be enough Zerg to eventually kill that one. Army on the left, though, does stay alive. Scans right there reveal the lurkers on the left side battle. Clem does hold on, and guess what? There's already a new command center ready to replace the one that was just killed. Scarlett, though, has been able to mine all bases on her side of the map easy peasy. I actually expected Clem to already transition towards more factories by this time, but he hasn't done that yet. Just sticking around on a bio-based army. I mean, there are, I guess, 3 siege tanks building at once. Yeah, the bank here for Clem is also really not that big. I guess it might still be a little bit too early. There's a lot of gas available, but there's like no minerals. Because of those, I don't know, half a dozen or so orbitals that keep being added onto the game. Double Nidus Worm is now a potential. I like it. Yeah. Usually Terrans will leave a small hit squad or like a siege tank or two in the corners of their bases to try and deal with those Nidus Worms, but oftentimes they can't reach 2 places at once. At the same moment, though, Scarlett is pushing forward here as well. Bio units, once again, backing off in between the structures, in between the siege tanks. Lurkers inside of the main base right now, too. Scarlett is suddenly everywhere, dealing damage to the mineral line. 27 workers have already gone down, and there's lurkers in the main base. This is super annoying. That being said, the lurker positioning here I don't like as much. I think a little bit closer to the ramp would probably have been better. Those snipes are absolute gold. Alright, that was actually handled quite well there, but Clem did end up losing a huge chunk of eco. And honestly, Clem doesn't have that much money in the first place. Another base in a little bit of trouble. Banelings once again hunting down the worker lines. Okay, that was some beautiful juking and jiving there, but the planetary is gone. This command center also taking a lot of damage. I think it will probably be able... No, it won't be. No, really? Really? I mean, it's burning down. Units need to repair it. One SCV. Okay, barely not pulled in time. Simultaneously, though, another Nidus Worm inside of the main base. It's one of those moves that takes about 20 actions to clean up and about 3 actions to execute. So while it might not necessarily be resource efficient, it's very APM efficient, I suppose. Okay, once again, a few siege tanks there do end up going down. At this moment, Clem has been reduced to 38 workers. I guess he just added on a couple new SCVs. And Scarlett still has 90 drones mining all those juicy mineral fields on her side of the map. Yeah, she's got mineral fields for days. And for days, I mean for another 15 minutes. After that, I think she'll be broke. Maybe taking one of these, what is normally considered to be the Terran bases, is not a bad idea. I think that might very well be the move. Alright, that was some brilliant fighting right there, though, by the Zerg. You can see cost effectiveness, though, is heavily in favor right here of Clem. One pesky lurker in the back of this mineral line as well. There are still command centers available, but I guess Clem is now playing a little bit safer. A couple of spines, a couple of spores on the right side base, making it hard for dropships to come in. Yeah, now Clem, even though he was setting up with a brilliant eco, he may have played a little bit too greedily. Not going to be able to go for that mechanical army switch. Scarlett is sitting at 8,000 gas almost, though. I mean, she's going to have 8,000 gas very soon. Nothing to really spend it on. The most logical unit to transition to, I guess, is Infestors. Infestors are obviously very nice, especially if you can, like, I don't know, neural parasite siege tanks, or, for example, fungal growth the ghosts. One fungal on the ghost would be absolutely massive. Then the Lings and the Bane can, Banes can roll in. Alright. Drilling claws are even being researched right now for Clem. Interesting. Little changelings are set up all around the Terran base, pretending to be Marines. They're double agents for the Zerg. Scarlett not playing with the Loco announcer, by the way, believe it or not. Anyways, once again, setting up a... Ooh, I don't like this one. Nope, that was bait. That was bait. Clem doing a fantastic job, forcing the Zerg player once again off creep. This may very well open up the opportunity right now, though, for the Terran army to engage over here on the left side of the map. Scarlett, by the way, is taking one of the expos that's normally considered to be the Terrans. Tactical planetary fortress is nice and all, but... it's not something you can really mine with. Okay. Ghosts over here dealing so much damage. Sniping down whatever they can. So real quick, the steady targeting ability, it has about a 1.5 seconds long channeling time. And if the ghost takes any damage whatsoever while it's laying down that snipe, the ability is cancelled. So that's why we see a lot of, like, additional lines right here being used, right? That is a massive overkill. But at the very least, it ensures that that lurker, yeah, is going to be super dead. Same moment, though. Okay. The choke point planetary is going to be killed. Scarlett apparently still relatively happy with her economy. She's transitioned mostly back towards just pure Ling Bane. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of... finally, we see Cloak. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of... what do we call them? Nukes. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of nukes added into the mix as well. Another one of those moves that is very attention effective. Not necessarily cost effective, but it's going to take the Zerg player a little while to hunt down those red dots. Okay. At this moment, though, Terran is starting to run dangerously low on money. There's really nothing remaining over here in this mineral field. Base in the top left, I guess, is the saving grace for now. Scarlett is trying to suffocate her opponent just by... yeah, continuously being aggressive. And now that she's mining this base over here too, I mean, that is obviously huge. She's now taken, I guess, 2 more bases than the opponent, which, despite the ineffective trading, should give her the upper hand eventually, as long as she can continue mining those bases. Spire's coming up. Pathogenic Lens is being researched. Burrow also coming up. 2 random Nidus Worms. Snipes across the little crevice. Yeah. That's a very dead lurker. Yeah, those are very dead. Apparently Clem's so happy right now with the lurker, or with the ghost count rather, that we see snipes on the overspheres all of the time. A Liberator coming up. Mech upgrades, continue researching. Alright. Clem, though, slowly pushing for another base. This one over here is very important. Honestly, 2 new bases is not bad whatsoever. Okay, a lot of siege tanks right there on the high ground, though. Very nice positioning here by Clem. It must be very tempting to actually put all of your units on the left side of the map. Still siege tanks destroying each other there. Scarlett does lose a huge chunk of her Ling army there, but the siege tanks obviously aren't free either. Already, 935 Zerglings have gone down. That's a lot. A little bit overly ambitious right here. 19 more Hydras are coming up too. This base is the main point of contest right now, right? Like, this is... It's King of the Hill. I wonder if this base is gonna decide the outcome of this game. There's not much that Clem can do about the expansion over here on the right side of the map. Scarlett's gonna mine that one out, I'm fairly certain. Clem, though, putting most of his units right over here on the left side, just to make sure that, he's gonna try and mine the expo that's normally the Zergs. Now, Scarlett has been mining this one for some time already. Knowing very well that the Terran player is stationed on the left or the left side of the map, she's decided to move in over here, but Clem doing a great job splitting up the army. Maybe spread a little bit too thinly right now, though, around the map. The Ghost, though, running on over in this direction. An abduction on one of the Ghosts. Dealing a bunch of damage. 10 Corruptors are coming up. Infestors are coming up, too. Neural Parasite? Okay. I think that Scarlett is going for a massive Brute Lord Infestor transition right now. Is it more efficient against this type of army? I mean, against a mech army, against 14 siege tanks. I don't think it's a bad idea, but it does mean that Zerg loses practically all of the mobility. Yeah, so there's 9 Brute Lords now coming up. 7 more Corruptors are also on that production tab. There's Infestors. I mean, this is going to be a slower army than that Terran mech force. Plus, it's not like Ghosts are bad against, you know. I guess the main advantage, though, is that you can have Brute Lords right here moving in on the left side. And the Ghost can't really be in range there. 1 fungal growth on the Ghost, and it is essentially game over. I love the static defense here, by the way. At this point, Clem doesn't know. Clem has not seen this transition. Soon he's going to be facing 15 Brute Lords. And he's still adding on siege tanks. I mean, we are coming up on soon to be 20 siege tanks. They're great against the Lingbane, Hydra, Lurker, Viper kind of unit comps, but not so much against this. Tactical nuke on the production tab as well. Alright, scan at this point reveals it. Snipes. Already getting rid of a couple of the brutes. Brute Lords hurt my feelings a little bit, man. I love the idea, but... Okay, well, you know what? This is working out quite well, since Terran didn't really know about it until the last possible moment. Already, though, a couple of Vikings were added into the mix. Okay, a few abductions as well, making it hard for those Ghosts to really properly line up their shots. There's the Infestors finally coming up. EMP, though. Yeah, we already did see the enhanced shockwaves of research there. EMP does remove some of the Infestor energy. Medevacs coming in to retreat whatever Ghost still remains. And 6 of them in total at this point are still alive. Alright. Scarlett decides to retake the base that she lost. She wants to continue mining these resources over here. In about 5 minutes, this base over on the right side of the map is going to start running dangerously low. 5 to 10 minutes, I think the minerals are gone. That means that Scarlett really needs this expansion right here. Same, I guess, can be said for Clem, but I think there is some more money remaining here. Yeah, there's a couple of mineral fields here and there. I guess this expansion is not worth retaking anymore. So that does mean that this expo over here is gonna be the most important one. One move that Scarlett can also go for that we have seen recently in some of Dark's games, and I think Cyril did it once as well, is where you burrow one of the infestors, you neural parasite one of the ghosts, and then you EMP the rest of the ghosts. This army here from Terran gets absolutely decimated without those boys. Siege tanks over here also dealing splash damage to the ghosts, which is not what you want at all. Static defense, slow pushing forward. 7 additional Brute Lords coming right up. Some of the Brutes want to move right over here on the left side of the map. Makes sense. Once again, Siege tanks. Ooh, gotta be so careful they don't accidentally fire at their friends. Scarlett pushing creep towards the main high ground as well. Love this little choke point, by the way. This is becoming an incredibly tense game. I think the hatchery is once again gonna fall. Alright, well, the Brute Lord count is dangerously high right now. Siege tanks once again firing at those ghosts too, which is really not ideal. Huge fungal growth over there. Can there be a follow-up fungal? There can be a follow-up fungal as well. Oh my god, brilliant moves here from Scarlett. I think she's winning this, isn't she? Okay, there is a planetary though on the back of this. EMP as well from the little crevice. Lurkers have been pushed forward. Creep spread is going to be pushed as well as the static defense. So good. This base has now switched hands like 5 times. Alright, I like it. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of Thors added into the mix as well. Maybe a siege tank over on this side, although I guess Vipers would just abduct them. There's a Thor. Big Daddy Thor has arrived. Get me back into the fight! Something like that, right? Thors have, in their high impact mode, which is what this Thor is in right now, they have a lot of anti-air ranged. They outrange Brute Lords, as a matter of fact, so they can gun those units down relatively easily, assuming they're not derping around with a bunch of Brutelings at their feet. Scarlett now leading the supply count quite a bit as well. Clem seems to be unable to remax here. Scarlett, though, yeah, you can see. She does have a lot of drones available still, but not really a whole lot of mineral fields. These bases are all running extremely low. It's really down to these mineral fields. It's really down to these patches right over here. What about Brute Lords from the left side? Like, all the way from the left. There's not that many Vikings. There's only a couple. Okay, here come the Brutes. Here come the Brutes. The Brutes are moving forward as well. Okay, Ghosts will be safe for now with the siege tanks unsieging, but Scarlett is breaking through this position right now. Planetary Fortress, though, in the back. Once again, a huge fungal growth, slowing down a lot of these ghosts, and the Banelings do eventually connect. Scarlett manages to take down a huge chunk of those ghosts that were still out. A few of them will be abducted here as well. She really wants to kill this expansion here from the Terran player, but I wonder if she's overextending a little bit. Corruptors using their caustic spray ability as well. One of the queens apparently has been pushed to the front as well. Another huge fungal growth. The command center does fall. Clem, only with 29 workers remaining here and not a whole lot of income. Not a whole lot of income here in general. Zerglings coming in. Getting around the site. Medivacs, though, picking up a few of these ghosts. Oh my god. Ghosts are so good. Why would you make anything but Ghost in the late game? Yeah. Just get Ghost. Alright, well, a lot of them have died this game as well, though. Maybe just go. Oh my god, 55 dead Ghosts. 54 dead Lurkers, by the way, for what it's worth. The UI even has bugged out because apparently we have 4 digits worth of Zerglings. Looks like this interface was never made with 1,000+ units going down in one game in mind. Okay. Clem reinforcing once again with a bunch of Marines, right? Now, don't get me wrong, Marines are good, but this is the ultimate Zerg late game army. Going up against the very first Terran biological units. Alright. Drones from the right side of the map have found a new bunch of mineral fields to mine from. I don't know if they were shared as well in the knowledge that this is a very dangerous base to mine from. Ghosts once again, though, the ones that are still alive, did get a little bit of energy, and snipes will land once more on some of those Zerg units. Bird Lords on the left side of the map. Moving in. Okay, nicely done right there by Scarlett. Clem is creeping up ahead, though, once again in the supply count. Not there yet, but Clem is producing more here than the Zerg player is. One creep tumor is not that much, believe it or not. Oh, Infestor over here. I would love to see a neural parasite here on one of the ghosts. Okay, scanner right there does reveal the one Infestor as well. EMP does remove some of the energy out of the Infestor group on the right side. Few of the ghosts, though, once again have gone down. Another massive fungal growth, but not really a possibility for a follow-up. Brute Lord's a little bit too slow to close that distance. This is an incredibly tense situation here. The battle for the final minerals. Only half of these mineral fields can be mined out of siege tank range, but Scarlett is getting whatever income she can. Clem, though, might want to consider pulling that Liberator to the front as well. The static defense over here has been incredibly good, too. The hatchery itself is running kind of low, by the way. Income-wise, Clem's still ahead. But these mineral fields are going to run out very soon. Can't believe he's still in this. Could have sworn he was dead like 3 seconds ago. Okay, more like 3 minutes, but... Okay. One volley of those Brutelings dealing a bunch of damage. Eventually, though, the hatchery once again goes down. Scans here continuously available. Oh, huge EMP there. Scans here continuously available. Because of the fact that there's so many orbital commands, right? The Iron Bank was built earlier. Normally you use that for a bunch of fungals and all that. Or, sorry, for a bunch of mules and all that. But apparently Clem is like, well, I guess I'll mine out eventually anyways. I'll use it for scans instead. Oh, God. Once again, good couple of snipes there. A couple of the ghosts, though, do find their deaths over here. A few more are running very low. Fungal growth coming in from the top section of this battle. A few Banelings thinking about... Oh, my God. Beautiful targeting there by Clem. Thinking about rolling into that ghost clump as well. Clem, though, still alive. He doesn't have much, but he's still alive. Scarlett needs to be very careful. There's a missile turret over there providing detection for the one Infestor right here, hiding off screen. Oh! Oh, that was a beautiful fungal, but just barely not far enough. Well, you know what? I say that. The Medivacs, they have been saving some of this Terran army as well. One of them, at the very least, is going down, and there's like 9 health remaining on the last. 79 on this one, though. We're now long distance mining the gases over here. I think we don't need gas. No, I think we're good. Expansion on the right side of the map, running out. Might be time to long distance mining the last mineral field right over there in that third base of the Terran. Nice pickup right there by Clem, keeping the Thor alive. Thor at this point, 21 kills. The Ghosts, though, have been brought back up to full HP. They've got pretty much full energy as well. And honestly, Clem is now pushing back this army once again. I don't know how he did it, but he did. Slowly but surely, the static defense that Zerg built here some time ago will will be taken care of. Every time, though, that we see those Broodlings land, I'm a little bit concerned right here for those Siege Tanks dealing so much damage. Fungal, once again, over the crevice. Scarlett wants to close out this game right here, right now. Another massive Fungal growth does land on top of all of the ghosts. Huge EMP, though, also shuts this down. Scarlett probably should have split up those units instead. The Thor here, raking in kill after kill after kill. Not a whole lot of anti-air available anymore. Marines coming in from the right side. Clem apparently just pressing the all-army hotkey, and that one EMP may have actually just sealed the deal. I think Scarlett just lost a little bit too much energy right here on those infestors. She's gonna have to back off at the very least. Big Daddy Thor number 2 comes up as well. Apparently they've been working out quite decently, especially in combination with the Medivacs. I think this one has 30 kills. Okay, is there enough right here for the Zerg player to stay alive? She needs to back off. She can't fight this. She needs energy on those infestors. Okay, there are a couple new infestors also available. How many ghosts are still out? Only 2. Only 2. There's the Fungal. There's the Fungal. Another Fungal growth does connect here. Clemdo creating a chokehold on what seems to be this base. Oh my god. Oh, that one ghost picked up in the medevac as well. Scarlett has some money. I think she should spend it. I think it's time to chill. I think she could... No, yeah, you should not be moving forward here. I think you should try and spend your money. Maybe add on like 2 more Brute Lords. Wait until there's energy available on these... in these infestors. Clem now starts long distance mining some of these mineral fields over here. It's not much, but it's honest work. I understand the desperation here though for Scarlett, because she does not want the Terran to mine this base. Orbital comments are flying from all over the map in this direction. One infestor, once again, sneaking its way towards the left side of the map. Okay, Scarlett has spent her last money on even more infestors. I guess if you can EMP the entire Terran army, that's one way of doing it. This might be the most valued missile turret here. There is an infestor though on the left side. Oh, dirty move there, using the cloaking ability. There's no overseer available, right? So the only detection here that Scarlett has is by fungling those ghosts. Then, well, one ghost just walked forward and EMP'd those infestors. GG is cold. And despite the fact that Clem was losing for the better part of, I think, the second half of this game, in the end, it is gonna be the Frenchman who obtains the victory.